Hey guys, Dan here, and today we're at the Movement Standard here with Aaron. Hey Aaron.
Hey guys, how are we?
Done a VO2 Max test today, me and Roger, our lead product and mechanical engineer, just to really understand what a VO2 Max is. We've done it here on the VO2 Master. Shout out to VO2 Master. Great unit. And yeah, just wanted to ask a few questions to Aaron around why VO2 Max, first of all. Like, why would you do a VO2 Max? What does it even mean? Is it a reduction of all-cause mortality? Are you just a great athlete? Can anyone do it? Can my mum do it? She's in her mid-60s.
I think that's one part about the test. Its beauty is we use it for everyone at all levels. It's a very universal test. It's, I guess, the scientific terms is the best predictor of your cardiovascular fitness, a measure of your cardiovascular fitness, which then has predictors in regards to longevity, quality of life, all-cause mortality lowers, all that kind of stuff, as well as then the performance aspect of anything from marathon to field sports and stuff like that. So we see quite a lot of people in here, everyone from older populations who might have some cardiovascular or metabolic issues, all the way through to younger athletes and then marathon runners, triathletes, all that kind of stuff. So it's a very broad test that gives us some really good information that we can work with.
My wife actually got me, so she did her VO2 Max first.
Yep.
And then I just wanted to beat her. We get a bit competitive. So yeah, can you explain? So I just did my VO2 Max test and I felt like I was going to die at the end of it, and I tried to push hard. I'm 41. No, I think I'm 42 this year.
41 at the time of the test.
Oh, 41 at the time of the test. Thanks, Aaron. But I noticed I got a 99 percentile. Like, that just seems pretty amazing. Validation?
It is. You are amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
VO2 Max of 55.4. And what are the main reasons, or what are the biggest takeouts that I can take from this? I can see my zones, I can see my heart rate in my zones, and how do I take actionable data and actually implement and get better?
A couple of takeaways we take from this mainly are obviously the score we get. So 55.4 is a great score, as you mentioned, in regards to age and gender match norms. You're sitting in the 99th percentile, so that's great. That is, having a number that's up there is something we obviously want. A higher number is better. The fitter you are, the longer you're going to live, the better quality of life science would tell us you're going to live, and the more capable your body is of performing certain things. What we do with these metrics now is, because the test is just a test to tell us where you're at.
Yep.
What we do from an exercise physiology point of view, or if you've got sports scientists or coaches and whatnot, take this information away and go, okay, well, what do we want to work on? If we're looking at just getting that number bigger, how can we get that number bigger? You mentioned the training zones here. So if you're doing things simple like running, riding, swimming, all of that kind of stuff, we can give you specific zones that'll target specific adaptations.
Yep.
If you're an athlete that needs to get faster or needs to get fitter, again, we can prioritize what phases of training or what intensities your training is done at based off these metrics.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also talk about, there is a ceiling to your VO2 max. Once you're past a certain age, we end up with a ceiling on a VO2 max, and it'll slowly decline as we get older. So people who come in who might be super fit, next time they test, they might see a drop in their VO2 max, but that might be age-related changes, not necessarily a drop in their, overall fitness. There's other things that we can look at, like your ventilation rate and your heart rate, that might change for the same speed that you're running at. So we make people more efficient when they're running or riding or whatever the test is done on. And that can be heavily based on the way in which we train people.
Got it. Awesome. Hey, look, so how often should somebody do their VO2 Max? And is monthly too much? Is it once a year? Is it once every few years?
Great question. So we tell people, most of this, the way we measure your VO2 Max is through your red blood cells, because they transport the oxygen around your body, fuel your muscles. And because this is an oxygen test, we look at essentially the life cycle of a red blood cell is around that 120 days.
Okay.
So every 3 to 4 months, if you're training to a specific program and you're looking for adaptations and changes, you could probably do a VO2 Max every 3 to 4 months, and you'd be looking to see some sort of positive improvement. And then your training zones might vary slightly, and then you can change your training plan accordingly. So we generally advise people 3 or 4 times a year is probably the regularity at which you need to test your VO2 Max.
Okay, and in terms of modality, we did it on the treadmill today. Curious on, so I do a fair bit of stair climbing. The one thing I notice every time I do the test on a treadmill is I hardly run, I hardly ever run, and I don't feel like I'm the most efficient runner. So all of this is sort of stair climbing only and a bit of functional fitness. Modality-wise though, like modalities that you could do like swimming or whatever, like specific things that really you notice in some individuals or athletes that get that better lung capacity or...
Definitely, it's the same as any other skill. If you run a lot, you'll be better at running. If we get cyclists or triathletes come in and spend a lot of time in the saddle, they'll get better results when they cycle. We have some people that come in that might have a bad knee but need to fitness test for their ticker. So they might ride, but because they don't ride a lot, their quads will blow up really quickly and they might not get the best test possible. But if that's the only way they can do the test because of an injury concern or whatnot, then that's the way we go about it. 100%. Like you might find that you might get a better score on a step up because you do that quite often, and that's a skill in which, you know, you're used to the environment, you're used to what, you know, the burn you're going to get in your legs, you're used to controlling your breathing and the speed of it, versus a treadmill and the bounce of a treadmill and the running of the treadmill and all that kind of stuff, versus if you jumped on a bike and the lactic you get through your quads when you jump on a bike and you're pedaling at quite high frequency. So yeah, there's definitely a skill aspect to that.
Okay. In terms of improving my VO2 max, it's 55.4 now. I'm going to lock in for a redo in 3 months. What would you recommend that I do? Is it an 80-20 split on zone 2 and then some max or vigorous, or, you know, what would you recommend?
There's a lot out there on things like 80-20 split, or your zone 2 can be quite the fad and whatnot at the moment. Realistically, this is one metric or one look at how your body is utilizing oxygen as its primary fuel source. And so depending on how you train can change all of those metrics. There is an element to the end of this if we look at the graph and the information it gives us here, where you'll hit your DT2, so it's your second ventilatory threshold, and then what you'll see is you actually don't get an increase in the amount of oxygen that your body's bringing in because your lungs are at their capacity, but you still keep going in the test for another 4 minutes. So that's where you're working alactically, or you're not using oxygen. So you can still train doing high intensity stuff, some repeat sprints and whatnot, and it's still going to drag the whole graph to the right. It might not be as effective as things like zone 2 training and getting that big time and effort into longer runs or longer stairs and longer rides and whatnot, which will bring all of this part of the graph to the right.
Got it.
And so it's not just I'm using one energy system, and if I don't train that, the rest don't get better. I always explain to people it's like the energy grid. We might be getting our baseline power from coal, we get a little bit of wind, we get a little bit of solar, and how that kind of makes up the light still goes on. So your body is still producing energy. How that light comes on and the percentage of that changes. And that's what we do from a training perspective, and going, well, if you have time to sit on a bike or go for a 2-hour run and build that zone 2 aerobic capacity, then that's probably going to be really good for improving this part of the graph. But if you're time poor or you don't like running super slowly for 2 hours in Brisbane, then you might want to work on some of your intervals or your stair sprints and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so the best way to increase it is going to be through your aerobic activity, so your zone 2, borderline zone 3 stuff for a majority of your time.
Okay.
But there's definitely no reason why you can't tailor it to the individual to make sure that, you know, the best training plan is the one they do. And so if they like doing the short, sharp, high intensity stuff, or they're a bit time poor, then you can definitely get results in this stuff from dragging the graph to the right, doing your interval work. Having said that, you're definitely going to benefit from some long, slow stuff where your body's able to sit into a rhythm and utilize oxygen and fat as its primary fuel source, and make the whole system more efficient at using those guys primarily.
Got it. Awesome.
The best part about having these metrics is you know where you sit.
Yep.
And so if you're looking to, whether it's a health thing, a performance thing, or just to understand, hey, I'm reaching a certain age where I'm a little bit more conscious of wanting to live longer or wanting to be healthier or wanting to, you know, get around the backyard with my kids better or the dog or whatnot, this is a really good way to put numbers on a piece of paper. It's super accurate, has a massive body of evidence behind it, and then you've got the information that you can take to someone, anyone, even just start Googling and build some better processes, habits, training plans that are just going to, you know, just be a little bit more effective. Same with kind of any other technology and stuff that we invest in. You know, people upgrade their phones. Well, why? Because you want more out of it. You want more efficiency out of it. Same thing when you're coming to training or just quality of life and healthy living. The reason why you would do this test is just to have more information at your disposal that you can then, if you don't know how to interpret it, you can take it to someone who can. Well,
100%. My goal in life is I just do fitness to keep up with kids and, you know, be able to do whatever I need with them to have fun. 100%. And I think that's a lot of people's goals anyway.
I've been looking at a bunch of this stuff for myself as I'm now getting to that age where this stuff becomes a lot more prevalent. And after you kind of, especially as a bloke, after you hit that 30 to 35 kind of mark, it's what you do before 30 you can pretty much get away with. It's not going to affect you. But after 30, your habits and your lifestyle will directly pretty much dictate what happens to you after 60 and 70. And it's not necessarily, look, if I'm not super fit, I'm not going to live very long. But if you're not super fit, you might not live with a great quality. So, you know,
it's
that's
about the
where,
quality, right? Quality of life.
Exactly. And so from our perspective, we look at metrics, and metrics sit there and go, the average Australian is not living a lot longer than they were 10, 20 years ago. It's about the same. But it's the quality of the last 10 years, the last 5 years of your life, whether you are sedentary playing bingo, or whether, you know, you see the old guy still going laps around around the block. My next door neighbour's 90 and he still mows the lawn. I was talking to him yesterday while he's mowing the lawn.
Wow. Yeah.
And I've got
cool.
a 90-year-old grandfather who's in a nursing home and walks around with a walker.
Yeah.
It's that kind of quality. It's not age. It's not that this guy's going to live to 120 because he's fit. It's just his quality of life in the latter years of his life is going to be where his fitness has kind of helped him and keeps him active. He's with his grandchildren all the time and stuff like that. So.
And just a huge education piece. I mean, if the generation before us had this information, or even before them, I think we'd be in a much different position in terms of how healthy and fit and, foods and all of that sort of stuff availability would be.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think, we're in the information age, and like you said, generations before us, if they had this information, what could they do with it? But it's also, they didn't have technology like we did, and they were forced to be more active and more fit. Everything from power steering to elevators and escalators.
Yeah.
Their bodies just had to work harder on a daily basis because they didn't have the technologies that we have that make life easier. Having said that, like some people think when they think about VO2 Max test, they've got to go out and run for 2 hours and do zone 2 running, and they've got to do Eurofit 15 on, 15 off, or the 4x4 European method and Swedish methods and all this kind of stuff. And let's face it, most people, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have time every day when I'm working to go and spend an hour and a half, 2 hours running, riding, swimming, gymming, all that kind of stuff. So in this day and age, this information is super important because you can prioritise where your time should be spent. And you can make that time efficient. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a 2-hour run in zone 2. We can do some interval work if you're a little bit time poor, and on the days or the weeks or the public holiday coming up where you might have a little bit of extra time, you might be able to go for a swim or a ride or a run and focus on that. But early morning before work or after work, when you've got limited time between when you pick up the kids or you make their dinner, 40-minute Tabata session can still improve these metrics, and this baseline and this information helps us, I guess, prioritise and make that efficient.
100%. Well, thank you, Aaron. Shout out to the Movement Standard and Aaron. If you guys want to do your VO2 Max, come down, give it a go.
100%.
Appreciate it.
Definitely recommend it.